So great. Okay. We will move on to budget development. Again, we're not going to get too deep into this, except that we do have to have some sort of budget information attached to the PIF when we send it over to RMG. If you don't have a budget template, I've actually sent over a really nice looking budget justification where I had all the names and the percent effort, and I had the supplies all listed out, and RMG created a spreadsheet from that. So you can definitely do it that way. We also have the budget template in the folder here. And I mentioned that in our homework assignment, you'll be able to build your own, but this is RMG's budget template. I can just show you what it looks like. I've got the dates already pre-populated for this for the project period. For the standard due dates for cycle 1, we talk about, the R1 deadline is 2/5 and we're in cycle 1. The earliest start date for cycle 1 from the standard due date is 9/1 to 21. And then the project period, you make sure that you put into this field the end date of the fiscal year that is in the same fiscal year as the start date. So you've actually got a clean full fiscal year here. So you've got 12 months in the first year and 0 in the second. But let's say you had a different cycle. This formula is going to drive the personnel commitments. But what you do is you put in your PI's information. You can put the NIH cap as a starting point, 10% effort, and you can see it auto populates the costs. And then maybe you have postdocs and they're at 65 and they're at 100% effort. Now you do have to make sure that your fringe is tied to the right cell. See, it's tied to the staff cell. So you actually have to move it over one cell to get to the, that correct. See, now I've got my postdoc fringe calculated. You can go down here, as Debbie mentioned, you might have a consultant, you can put that here. You can see kind of how this is going. We've got the fringe rates here that are from our latest rate agreement. You can scroll down here, you can say you've got consumables, you've got patient incentives maybe going on in your proposal. Maybe you have publication costs down here. You can populate all that and it's going to feed up into the top of the proposal. You can see your total and then here's your NIH direct costs. Why is this highlighted? Because as you saw in the RFA, it's the direct costs that we're budgeting to. So that's just a really quick flavor of how you build a budget. Definitely takes some more time to dig deeper into that. I do have this special freestanding presentation just about how to do budgets. It's 20 pages all by itself, but definitely have this up when you are working on your homework assignment. It's going to really help you. Do Research does have budget basics and budget tools. I mentioned in my email on yesterday that there is a seminar on budget development delivered by ORA tomorrow, so you can take a look at that one. And then there's also a useful template here. The budget justification template is here, the NIH format that I use. And so I'll pull this and this is my starting point. Number of calendar months is based on your percent effort. I look them up in the directory and I add their titles. And usually their Stanford profile will have a 1-line summary of their research. And you can fill it in right here. There's a lot you can do for your PI to give them a starting point. And they're so appreciative when it's already 75% of the way there and they only have to customize a few words or add a few lines about what they're going to be doing for this particular project. You can really move it forward for them and make a big difference. Same thing with supplies, other direct costs, travel funds, all the basic categories are here and you can customize it for the proposal that you're working on. We also have a few, and this is a crowdsourced document, so if anybody wants to help us improve this one, just some standard default salary rates in case your PI says, well, I want to have a life sciences research professional, but I don't know. I don't have anybody in mind. So what's kind of the starting point for these roles? So we can put something in the budget that's realistic. You can use that. So that is saved in the share file. If you need some help with percent effort versus person months, there's a nifty little calculator here. It's got some red arrows. It's really flashy. Check it out. And the budget spreadsheet will also calculate that for you. And then we've got some kind of variations on the budgeting worksheets. Oh, I also have, in case your PI does animal work, animal rates are in here. This is the current animal rate that we're using. So there are a lot of good budget info in here to kind of help you get started. Moving on then, so say you've got your budget done, you've routed your PIF, and the next thing you're wanting to do is help your PI get those documents formatted, because that's another thing we can do, not only because we can develop expertise on what NIH is looking for, and also we develop expertise on what RMG is looking for. And again, the goal is for your PI's proposal to attract no notice, to come through clean and sail out the door. So, you know, they are relying on us for that, but also just a second pair of eyes. Sometimes, you know, I'll go in after the PI's uploaded their research strategy and AIM-3 still has yellow highlight on it. And I'll be like, hey, I think you probably didn't mean this, and you've just been staring at it all night and you can't look at it one more time. So, you know, I saw this. So you can actually really add value that way as well. So in the proposal document, proposal preparation and formatting, I have the summary of the NIH formatting requirements, and this is absolutely everything: file size, fillable PDFs, the fonts must be 11 points or larger. Typically they ask for Arial. Any of these are acceptable. Try to persuade your PI not to use anything other than these, because sometimes the formatting will kick it out. No headers or footers, those are going to be generated by the system. No hyperlinks, only allow them specifically noted in the funding opportunity announcement and the form field instructions. And that's because sometimes people use the link to try to circumvent the page limits, to try to put more information by making reviewers click. And the other reason is the reviewers are told not to request these, to click these, because it could compromise their anonymity. If you have a website for your lab and it can track where people are clicking on it, and right around the time of study section review, you can see these different points. You can see where logging in, that could affect the anonymity of the review, and that's not something we want to be doing. So I want to also point out there are some proposal document templates available. So I've just started a list here, and again, if you know of other places where templates live, please feel free to send those to me. But RMG has an extensive list of document templates. Not only checklists, but templates that you can click on here. It's a little searchable form. So if you go out here, there's a search box, but see what automatically pre-populates. There's all these proposal checklists. Here's an authentication of key biological resources so that your PI has something to go on, right? What is in it, and kind of what does it look like? So you can see, you can direct your PI to that, and that's really going to help them out. In addition to that, the Stanford Research Development Office, as we talked about, has templates as well posted on their website. These are research plan form, and then other project information sections, and then other NIH resources. So that's another place your PIs can look. And NIAID, as if we didn't love Dr. Fauci and his institute enough, we also have whole proposals posted on the NIAID website. So if your PI has never done an R01 and wants to see one, check it out. Full application and summary statement. I mean, this is really a gold mine for your PI if they're just getting started, or maybe it's a new mechanism for them. It's super helpful. I have some templates and resources saved in here as well. Just some different things, sample like for consortium arrangements. I'll often actually just take a first pass at this. You know, this is an actual proposal that I worked on that had 5 international subsites. And, you know, you can customize this to the subsites that your PI has. Really helps them because they can just take a look, tweak a few things that they want to tweak, and then they're done. So, okay. That is the section on formatting. I guess I do want to mention biosketches. I've got a whole folder just for biosketches, because this is a big deal, and your biosketch is out of compliance, your whole application can be rejected. And that would just be a real tragedy, as Debbie pointed out. It can be a real tragedy to have something kicked out for some technicality. And so you've got a sample of what the bio looks like when it looks good. I actually saved out here, I de-identified it, I changed the name, but this was a biosketch that I got from somebody, and this is what it looked like when it came to me, just as an example of like, what do you need to do to get the bio into compliance? You can see this, like it's got this funky font. This is Palatino. The lines are gone from the header. So I would be going back in and redoing the whole header on this one. You know, this is, again, the standard one. It's got these different activities. It's looking okay. It's got ranges instead of just regular dates. But if you look at this one, it's still got the old contributions to science, which is just the straight publication list. They cannot do that anymore. you've got to do your statement, like you can see here, where you have your 1, 2, and 3 contributions to science. The guidelines will tell you exactly how many are allowed. So just giving you, I just want to give you a flavor of, like, just because you got the bio, you're not done, because there could be a lot more that you need to look at. So what does RMG look for? They're looking for this, they actually look at this. If it's less than the latest, greatest one, which is 2023, they'll tell you to either delete it or download the fresh template and start over. They will look for this accurate header. They will look for a personal statement. The guidelines say you can have up to 4 publications in support of the personal statement. If your PI has 5, you have to send it back to them and ask them to remove one. The positions and honors is going to be listed out on the bio here. And then contributions to science, you can have up to 5 contributions with up to 4 publications in support of each. And if you have more, RMG will require you to remove them before you can move ahead. And I actually really appreciate this from RMG, because I have a memory from Ohio State of having a biosketch that had 2 extra publications on it, and the entire application was withdrawn because it had too many publications. So this is a real thing, and I know that it seems like a nitpicking thing, but it actually will make the difference. This is the only link that's allowed. This is the link to the PI's full bibliography. And then research support, anything that's active or if it was completed in the last 3 years. So that's another one. Like now that, you can see some of these are old. RMG would require us to remove all of these because they're more than 3 years in the past, because the guidelines require that. So the full NIH Biosketch guidelines, you can find them anytime, NIH Biosketch guidelines. Biosketch form, you can get the blank format page if you have to start over. The instructions are here. The postdoc, you've got the samples, you've got the templates, everything's here. It's super easy to find. So definitely take some time with those bios. Try to get them back a little bit earlier than your other proposal docs, because I find a lot of bio sketches, well, like this one I shared with you, start a conversation. It's not the end point. So definitely spend some time with those. Okay, I do want to